what time it is. Marvin Devine, Huber, Axel, and you know how we do. Yeah, I got the juice. Big game cool, make them look like cool. Always play it cool, that's the biggest rule. Fuck it, what they doing, keep on doing it. I've been making loot since like 22. Ask me how I made it right here in the booth. I'm always pursued cause of what I pursue. That's greatness, yeah, I gotta make it, I got things to lose. Boy, wanna get in my crew, but you can't get in my crew. Me, Axel, and Huber way too fireable. When this joint drop, better call the truth. And when you hear the drop, better raise the roof. Better raise the roof. You already know what happens when we link up. Let's go. Yeah.
Hey guys, sorry for the inconvenience. The sound had a little trouble. But again, this is LaMonte, your very own personal impact coach. Want to share for this 2021. The topic today is soar, soar and rise. No sound, no sound. Hey, I'm, can't hear me. I'm clear over here on this side. Give me a second. My volume is up all the way. Let me try this. Okay, okay, okay. All right, you can hear. All right, thanks, guys, for the inconvenience. Again, this is LaMonte, your very own personal impact coach. 2021, here to talk about soaring, how to go higher in 2021. How to go higher. Going higher, this simply means how to be better, okay? How to improve, how to rise above a situation. And we know that in 2020, things have been challenging. It's looking like even in 2021, things are challenging. But I'm going to talk about 4 things to encourage you, to help you to rise. So, what does it mean to soar? Oh, soar means to swiftly overcome adversity readily. Okay, and we all need to be encouraged. We all need to be edified, be built up to go higher. Because sometimes we find ourselves in situations going through the pandemic, being on dialysis, kidney disease is very challenging. So we always need an encouragement to do better, to go higher, to improve. And so I just usually every year I come up with a word a year. Okay. So the word I picked for this year was soar. And the reason why I pick words for the year, because the words of the year sets the tone for me. Okay. The words for the year is like a roadmap. It's like a navigator. It's something for me to stay focused on, to help me in situations to get me from one place to another. So it's a reminder when I come up with these words, it's a reminder to me, hey, this is the word you came up for the year. This is your tone setter. Then remember that and stick to it. Set the tone for the year and stick to it. So, yes, we're going to soar today. We're going to swiftly overcome adversity readily. And so, when I think of soar, like I said, we're going to improve, we're going to get better. But think of the eagle, okay? The eagle is a animal that soars. And the eagle goes through challenges, okay? And one of the things that the eagle has to his advantage that we don't have, and even most animals don't have, is the eagle has a eagle-eye vision. They say eagles can see easily 1 mile ahead of them, right? We don't have the capacity. I barely can see 10 feet in front of me sometimes. I got to wear contacts, but an eagle has a vision that's exceedingly far before him. So I wanted to, create this groundwork for soaring. So since the eagle can see so much in advance and for them, I'm encouraging you, look forward. Try to look forward with your vision and see yourself, and also not only see yourself, try to be like a chess advocate. Try to be one step ahead of the game. Anybody ever played chess? The game of chess, you're trying to be a step ahead of the game. You're trying to be a little bit before. You're trying to predict. You're trying to use your skills and talent to be a little bit down the road. Okay. So the eagle has a great vision. And one thing that the eagle does also is that the eagle faces adversity. And that's one of the things when it means to soar. So this is what happened with an eagle. Often, he's out there flying and there's storms out there, right? There's wind storms, there's all kind of things, tornadoes. And when the eagle sees a storm, he doesn't try to outrun it because the storm is pretty quick. It's pretty fast. It's very powerful. If he tries to outrun it, what happens is it'll overtake him. But the eagle flies into the storm. He does everything he possibly can. He flies into the storm and he opens up his wings. And when he begins to open up his wings, he begins to soar. What happens is the wind usually pushes him up very, very quickly, pushes him up in the air, and he ends up being above the storm. He ends up flying above the storm where he's in a sense of peace. He's no longer being in this tumultuous wind and storm. He's actually so high above it that it's non-effective. He can actually see it. So when I say soar, the first word is swiftly. Swiftly just means what it means. It doesn't mean to just hurry up and deal with something, mean that it's going to be over quick. It means to deal with your problems quickly, just like the eagle. Okay. It means if you have an issue, have a problem, that means you have to face it, face the problem, um, deal with the problem, process it, and it is a process. You know, being on dialysis, having kidney disease, it's a challenge, I always say, but it's worth it. And so one of the things you got to do is when you see some type of issue, some type of problem, address it. Don't wait. Uh, Address it. Try to be courageous enough, get some support, uh, be motivated to address it. Because when we address it, then we're able to go to the next level. And one of the things that happened with me when I first went on dialysis is that I had to address it. I had to see it for what it was. I had to see it for the storm, and I saw it for what it was. So I dealt with it swiftly. How did I deal with it swiftly? I began to talk to other patients, like many of you guys do. We talk to other patients. We talk to our doctors. We talk to nurses. But also, I did a lot of personal research. So a lot of personal research began to help me soar, help me rise above what I was facing. Because originally they told me that my life expectancy was like, what, 3 to 5 years, and there was no way for me to accept that in my heart. And so I began to deal with it swiftly. The second thing is that once you begin to deal with it swiftly, you're going to have to overcome it. Okay, so now I'm dealing with it. Now I'm doing the research. Now I'm finding out. Now I'm talking to other people. I'm talking to advocates. I'm talking to coaches. I'm talking to doctors. I'm doing whatever it can to address the issue. So now I have to overcome it. And just the word itself, overcome, suggests that it's going to take some work. It suggests it's going to take some energy. It's going to take some tenacity. So in order to overcome it, we have to, take ownership. We have to problem solve when we begin to overcome things. Okay. So to overcome it means sometimes we're going uphill, right? A mountain. Think about elevation. You're going up. And in that process going up, what's happen also? You're going to get stronger. Is it going to be challenged? Yes, but you're going to get stronger. Okay. So as you overcome, I think what acronym that I usually use for myself, even in business, it's called SODAS. Okay. So when we're dealing with SODAS, the acronym is you have a situation, you have options, options, you have advantages, and you have disadvantages, and then you have a solution. Okay, so write that down. Whenever you have something to overcome, think of the acronym SODAS. I'm gonna repeat it again. I'm not talking about drinking sodas. Right? I'm talking about drinking Coke. I know a lot of warriors like to drink root beer. I'm not talking about that, right? And I encourage you not to drink dark sodas. They say it's best to drink 7 Up and Sprite, okay? But sodas is the acronym. You have a situation, you have options, you have advantages, and you have disadvantages. As you go through that process, it's going to allow you to come up with the solution, okay? So anytime you see something, look at the situation. Look at what are my options? My option is transplant. My option is, I'm hemodialysis. My option was PD. I mean, my option was doing it at home. What are your options in dealing with dialysis? What are your options in dealing with kidney disease? Not only just the process of being on the machine, but your options in your health, your options in eating and exercise. What are all my options? What are my options in dealing with the exhaustion, being tired? What are my exhaustion options when I have edema? What is my options when I have a high blood pressure? What do I do? What are all my options? What are the advantages and the disadvantages to that? Okay. So one of the disadvantages to having high blood pressure, of course, we know is having a stroke. One of the disadvantages to having edema also is we have so much fluid, our blood pressure can drop. You know, we have so much fluid, we can have congestive heart failure. Okay, I end up in the hospital because of that, because of some medication. So when you go through these sodas, we go through these sodas. Thank you, Jared. When we go through these sodas, it helps us to deal with it, and it helps us to deal with it in such a way that we come up with a solution. So the solution for me with high blood pressure was I needed to deal with my blood pressure. When I came in, it was a 198 over 110. Man, that was a situation. Okay, I had to soar, right? I had to deal with that thing swiftly. I had to overcome it. And one of the first things I learned to overcome that is I needed to reduce my sodium. Okay, I had to reduce my sodium down to 1,500 milligrams. Okay, I began to reduce my sodium down to 1,500 milligrams. And the next thing I learned also was to drink beet juice, to be organic beet juice. And what organic beet juice does, it acts like a bronchodilator. What happens is when you drink it, it begins to open up your lung capacity. It begins to allow you to have more circulation. And what happened when I did those two things, my blood pressure dropped so low, not to the point where I got lightheaded, but to the point they had to lower my medication. Okay, so that's number two. We got to overcome it. It's going to take some work. You might have it didn't happen overnight for me to deal with the blood pressure. It actually took about 6 months. I had to go to a number of different medications. They put me on all kind of stuff, clonidine patch. They put me on clonidine. They put me on so many different medications, right? But it was the thing that I wanted to do. I wanted to swiftly overcome it. And the next part of it, of this situation, of this acronym for SOARing for this new year, is adversity. Being on dialysis, life itself is adverse. Okay, life itself is tumultuous. Not alone. I mean, not not by itself, just to put you on the machine. So life by itself is challenging. Then you get put on the machine with dialysis. Then you're going through a pandemic. That's adverse. That's very challenging. That's like an uphill drive, right? But in that adversity, there's a proverb that says this: if you faint in the heat or on the day of adversity, your strength is little. So sometimes when we're going through adversity, we're very weak. We don't have that type of strength. And I don't mean necessarily physical strength, okay? Because many times in dialysis, I didn't have physical strength. It wasn't my physical strength that got me through. Yes, being in shape helped me. Working out was a big plus. Eating was a big plus. But what even compelled me, what even motivated me to do those things was my mental strength, was my mental capacity. And that's why I keep wearing this hat, because this hat reminds me I need to keep looking up. I need to keep having hope. I need to keep on rising. I need to keep on looking to heaven. I need to do all I can to keep my head above. And so the mindset was able to help me get strength, mental strength, emotional strength. Okay, the type of strength that allows you not to give up, the type of strength that gives you intestinal fortitude, the type of strength that gives you some nerve. You got to have nerve to go through dialysis. You got to have the type of nerve, you got to have the boldness. That's why we call ourselves warriors. Warriors have nerve. Warriors are audacious. Warriors are bold, right? Because they're bold enough to say, hey, I know I'm sick. I know I'm going through these challenges, but I'm bold enough to handle it. Okay. I'm bold enough to deal with it. So when you have nerve, you're going to face your adversity. When you begin to face your adversity, you're going to get stronger. And as a health and fitness coach, I train people, I coach people also how to get physically strong and how to help people get physically strong. Everybody knows you need resistance. Okay, so when people come to me, I create a program that's going to allow them to have progress. I let their need, I come up with a needs analysis. Based on analysis, this is how I design the program. Okay, I just don't drop 100 pounds on people. Okay, it's a progression. Okay, so your strength is progression. Your progress is progression. It takes time. So I might start you off with 30 pounds, 40 pounds. You start pressing that 40 pounds, it's adverse, right? You're a little wobbly, you're a little weak, Okay. But as you continue to do that, that adversity that I'm putting on you is going to allow you to get stronger. Okay. So even mentally, you got to do things to help you get mentally stronger. One of the things is, for me, was affirmations, waking up in the morning, having affirmations, telling myself, speaking to me, speaking to Lamont, because my mind sometimes would be traveling. You know, your mind would take you places you don't want to go. So I'll wake up and as much as I did not want to go to dialysis, I did. There wasn't a day that I wanted to go to dialysis. Okay, 7 years, I didn't wake up saying, "Woohoo, I'm ready to go." No, it was a challenge to get there. But every day I told myself, hey, "You purposed in your heart. You're going to make this journey. You're going to get through this. This is for a reason. You're strong. You're powerful. Okay. You have a life. You have a reason for being here. Okay. And I was encouraging myself constantly. You're smart. You're intelligent. Okay. You're doing the right thing. Okay. You can make it. You can take it. You're dedicated. You're motivated. You're an overcomer. You're not a quitter. You're not a person who throws in the towel. I had to tell myself those type of things literally in my mindset, meditation, sometime even speaking it out loud. Okay, so those type of things will help you get affirmations, will help your mental capacity. Okay, the words that we speak also, I believe, are life and death. There's power in the tongue. So when you begin to audibly speak those things out loud, when you begin to use your tongue in a positive way, look, your brain catches on, your subconscious mind catches on, and guess what? Even you catch on, okay? So you got to speak life over you. You got to speak life because words are energy. Words are powerful. Words are not. We say sticks and stones may break our bones, but names will never hurt us. That's never been true. That's one of the biggest lies we've ever said, right? Because if names would ever hurt us, why do we get hurt when people say certain things? Why do we get hurt when people talk to us a certain way? Why do we get offended? Because words have power. So I'm saying take that power of your tongue and speak life. Okay, that's one of the things that's going to help you overcome this adversity to allow you to soar. And then last thing, it's kind of like a summary. Okay, I started off with swiftly. I'm ending up with readily. Okay. So look, we got to be readily to deal with any situation. Means that what ready means I'm willing. Okay. I'm willing to deal with it. I'm going to do it without delay. Okay. Sometimes we're unwilling. I understand. Sometimes a lot of patients I've known unwilling to change your diet, unwilling to follow the guidelines, okay? But to be readily, in order to go higher, in order to rise, you got to be willing. You got to be willing in spite of the way the food tastes. Come on now. Sometimes we look, the food that we eat, at least what I was eating too on dialysis, I didn't like it. It didn't always taste good, but I had a bigger plan. The bigger plan was to get off dialysis. The bigger plan was actually also while I was on was to feel good. One of the main reasons why I ate well, why I worked out, why I slept, because I wanted to feel good. So if I had to eat something that was a little bland, I had to eat something that I was unaccustomed to before my other life when I was eating things that I could eat whatever I wanted to. But in dialysis life, I couldn't eat those things. So I ate things that, hey, my taste buds wasn't always jumping out of my mouth, right? It was some things that was bland, but it was worth it because you know what? I'd rather eat something that might not be all tasteful. Not that I didn't have flavor and stuff. Yeah, I use Mrs. Dash. I use spices. I use various things to make my food taste better. But my point is sometimes it ain't always gonna taste good. Okay. And so you're doing things to help you soar. So you gotta be willing, you gotta be readily available even for yourself. And lastly, don't procrastinate. Don't procrastinate. Often we procrastinate. We procrastinate because I don't want to deal with it. We procrastinate because it's difficult. We procrastinate because it's hard. And I understand it is hard, it is difficult. So we put it over there, or we put our head in a hole like an ostrich, hoping if I procrastinate, if I put it away, that it's going to figure it out for itself. That it's all just going to fall into place. And once I pull my head out of the hole, then I look around and there's no threat. But that's the farthest thing from the truth. So let's think about not procrastination. That's why you have to fly into the storm like the eagle. Okay. That's why you got to go forward. In the military, taught us the same thing. I'm a military veteran. They taught us the same thing. When you're dealing with adversity, you're dealing with challenges, you're dealing with combat, the last thing you want to do is retreat. Because when you're being ambushed, at least, I'm sorry, let's clarify that. When you're being ambushed, often in the military, you're being ambushed. It means the enemy drops out of nowhere. You didn't see them. They come out of nowhere and they ambush you. They say your chances of survival or ambush is to go forward and face the enemy. You have a better chance of survival when you're going heads up. He's charging at you, you charging at them, force against force. But when you're fleeing, you have zero chance of survival because you've been caught off guard and you have no position to stand on, and usually you lose. So go forward, okay? Go forward, face the enemy, commit yourself, be readily, be willing, have a commitment, own it, and I guarantee, these are the things I did. So if it worked for me, it should work for you. I'm no different. I'm no better than anybody else. Sometimes the doctors just say, "Wow, I'm an anomaly." I'm not an anomaly. I'm just a person that had intention. I'm just a person who purposed in my heart. I'm just a person who made sure to do my due diligence. That's it. Okay. And everybody out there to my voice, if you're intentional, if you have a plan, if you purpose in your heart, you're going to have way more victories than you are defeats. Okay. So I just wanted to come on for this 2021 and share my word for the year, my acronym for the year, which is SOAR. We're going to be like the eagle. Okay. We're going to swiftly overcome adversity readily. Hey, everybody, this is LaMonte, your very own personal impact coach, available for you anytime. Message me, go on my Facebook. I'm available. I'm here for you. I'm still fighting, give you information, encourage you on how I've done some things. You guys have a great night, and thanks for joining.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.